Today is a great day. There's some great news. Pipeline. Is there going to be a pipeline or is there not going to be a pipeline? What are we talking about pipelines? Alberta and Canada have officially entered in an energy agreement, which will give us cookie crumbs. Yeah, just a couple crumbs today. I know. I wanted a full jar of cookies, but instead we get to taste a couple cookie crumbs. I don't know about you, but I actually think it's worse to get that taste in my mouth and then take away the cookie jar. Or is this the plan all along? Is Danielle Smith offering cookie crumbs so that we get a taste? And once we want the full thing, that's when Canada wakes up and gets rid of this globalist banker. This might have been Mark Carney's biggest mistake in his political career. I know I said that yesterday, but today, once you offer us the taste of the cookie crumb, oh yeah, we're going for the whole thing. And he's paved the way for us to get the entire thing. In today's report, we're going to go over this massive announcement. I'm going to go over the details on what it looks like. We got some breaking news from his cabinet. Oh, I can't wait to share this one with you. And I got David Eby's reaction to this massive announcement. Let's get into this report. I don't know where to start. I'm way too excited, but we should probably start with this. I've been dreaming about this day every day of my life. I wake up and I just said, hopefully there's a day where this guy is resigned or in prison. One or the other, just gone. This guy has been blocking our prosperity for forever. He's gone. He has officially resigned. And just so everybody knows, this is how great this announcement is. If he is officially resigning because of Mark Carney's announcement, we're on the right track, Canada. Oh, yeah. We're going to start off with Danielle Smith's announcement.
Today is a great day for the people of Alberta and for all of Canada. The last 10 years have been an extremely difficult time for hundreds of thousands of Albertans and their families that directly or indirectly rely on and make their living from a strong and vibrant and growing Alberta oil and gas sector. These were dark times, but in those difficult circumstances, Albertans came together, as we always do, to raise our voices and use our ingenuity to find a way to overcome the challenge. We fought and won in the courts of law. We fought and won in the court of public opinion. And we fought because we had to, because that's what Albertans do. This agreement means the end of the punitive oil and gas emissions cap so that our great energy producers can grow and thrive again. This agreement means the immediate suspension of the federal net zero power regulations in Alberta, which had placed our electrical grid at a very serious risk of failure and limited any hope of substantial investment in AI data centers and applications development. This agreement includes a clear path to the construction of an over 1 million barrel per day Indigenous co-owned bitumen pipeline to Asian markets. And this agreement also means that Alberta will be a world leader in the development and implementation of emissions reduction infrastructure, particularly in carbon capture, utilization, and storage. This agreement with the government is just the first step in this journey. There is much more hard work to be done. Trust must be built and earned in the partnership as we move through the next steps of this process. First of all, one of the things I wanted was no export taxes or restrictions on Alberta oil and gas. Well, we got that. A complete redo of C-69, well, there's going to be a rewrite of that bill. Emissions cap, gone. Carbon pricing stays provincial, we've got that. The clean electricity regulation scrap, we got that. Tanker ban carve out, we got that. The censorship of energy, we got that. That's 7 out of 9. That's not so bad. Canada can never reach its true potential as a global energy superpower without a strong and thriving Alberta energy sector at the center of that effort. And today's agreement is the first step in accomplishing all of these critical objectives and unleashing the power and promise of Alberta's energy sector in a way never seen before in this country. This is Alberta's moment of opportunity. Our opportunity to show the nation, as well as the entire world, that resource development and emissions reduction can not only coexist, but can actually complement one another for the benefit of billions of people around the world. And although I am not blind to the fact that the people of Alberta have had the rug pulled out from underneath them too many times to count over the past 10 years, I also know that a new relationship and a new beginning needs a starting point grounded in good faith. And today, I hope, is that new starting point.
All right. It's not all good news, but it's a start, as she mentioned. And I have to say, I mean, thank goodness we have a leader like Danielle Smith, which is able to work with anybody. And that's the key. She's able to work with the farthest left-wing people and bring them to the center, which is amazing to see. It's like, you know what? I can't believe that Mark Carney is actually considering removing the tanker ban that's been in place for 50 years. And that's probably why Stephen Guilbeault is gone. So this is a big win for Canada. But remember what I said about the cookie crumbs? Because I believe Danielle Smith has just provided us with the cookie crumbs, showing us the way that we could actually do the environmental thing and prosperity at the exact same time. And that's going to open up a bunch of eyeballs. And the second that Mark Carney gets in the way, that's when Canadians push him out of the way and we vote for a conservative-led government, which is going to remove all the red tape and do it expeditiously. Because like I said, this announcement is going to be years to get this whole thing rolled out. We don't have years. We need to do it right away. But it sets the stage for progress. Way to go, Danielle Smith. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and a lot of the risk falls on Alberta with Mark Carney's plan. He's looking to front load a bunch of carbon taxes, increasing it 6 times over. And if there's no pipeline that actually gets delivered, this is catastrophic. Collecting taxes from Alberta with this carbon levy, you better deliver a pipeline.
But at its core is tightening the tier system, which is the industrial carbon price system here in Alberta, to a level of at least $130 with a pass price from there. What does that mean? It means more than a 6 times increase in the industrial price of carbon, from its effective level, which is much lower than the headline level, the effective level, to the level that's committed in the agreement. That's the first.
Like I said, the cookie crumbs, because the minute that we start feeling there is no pipeline happening, that's when I believe the majority of Canadians will wake up and say the problem is him. Let's see the signing of this thing.
Excellent. Is that how he does it?
It just says, I think you got a little thumbs up.
I don't know what he was doing there. He's going like, look at this thing. Is that what Donald Trump does? I'm just saying, we're doing a Trump. Here's the cheat sheet. So there is a win here. No oil and gas production cap, no net zero power regulations, 1 more million barrels per day pipeline to Asian markets. That's on the North Coast. 400,000 barrels per day TMX expansion. That's a no-brainer. They should already do it. That means there'll be a tanker every single day coming to fill up at the port in the Lower Mainland. That means that will be at capacity. They have to use the North Coast, and that's why there's the Deepwater Port Access oil tanker. Let's get David Eby's reaction.
Keith, do you have a follow-up?
Yes. So, as you say, there's no proponent, there's no plan, there's no route, really nothing there. Today, the Prime Minister said if there's no proponent, there's no pipeline, period, full stop. Do you interpret that to mean that there's not going to be any federal subsidy, as we saw with the TMX pipeline, and therefore the odds of this pipeline being built are rather remote?
I think this proposal has some major challenges. First of all, we already have a publicly owned pipeline. It is not at capacity. It is for sale. Nobody wants to buy it. For this new pipeline proposal, it similarly has no company that has stepped up and said, even under the most optimistic conditions, that they would be interested in building it, that if it were already built, that they would be interested in buying it, which leaves only one possible way that it could get built, which is through a massive taxpayer-funded support in the order of $30 to $40 billion of taxpayer dollars to get it built. Now, in that scenario, I think British Columbia has some projects that could compete with this one that would create just as much opportunity and be significantly cheaper to taxpayers. But we're not even asking for taxpayer dollars. I don't think one taxpayer dollar should go into this project, and I'm glad to see in the agreement that that is a condition. And I think that that is probably fatal to Premier Smith's proposal. I understand the Prime Minister was speaking to the Calgary Board of Trade and jokingly asked if anyone wanted to be a proponent of the project. Joking aside, there is no proponent. There is unlikely to be a proponent. And so even if there were a proponent, one of the key hurdles of coastal First Nation support has not been achieved. And it has been their position since 1977 that the oil tanker ban needs to be in place, because if there were an oil spill, their way of life would end, as would $1.7 billion in economic activity.
I have to say, David Eby's not going to stop. But here's the thing about the First Nations. If they are set with economic prosperity from this pipeline and guaranteed if there was a spill it'd get cleaned up and was reassured that their future would be taken care of and the rest of Canada, and we're all doing everything and it's the only person that's in the way is David Eby. David Eby will change his mind, or guess what? BC will remove him. And out of all of the things that we're excited about today, here's the thing that I have a problem with. We have the most conflicted prime minister in Canadian history. The only reason he's actually considering this thing is because of the carbon capture aspect, which is going to make him millions of dollars. So if he wants to remain as prime minister, he needs to sell all of his assets, put it into cash in a blind trust, and own none of the interests in any of these projects. Or he needs to resign, because what he's doing is not okay.
Mr. Speaker, it is being reported that the government's MOU with Alberta includes a multi-billion-dollar investment in carbon capture with Pathways Alliance, the premier carbon capture company connected with Pathways Alliance is none other than Entropy, which is owned by none other than Brookfield. Is the reason it has taken the government so long to get a deal with Alberta because the Prime Minister has been busy getting a deal for Brookfield?
Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, I hate to break up their conspiracy theory, but Pathways is actually owned by 6 large oil companies, not Entropy.
Member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, the very Brookfield fund that the Prime Minister stands to make millions of dollars in future bonus pay invested $300 million in Entropy. So, in the face of that, can the government provide the assurance that the deal negotiated by the Prime Minister will in no way benefit Entropy and, by extension, the Prime Minister's financial portfolio?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, here we go again, conspiracy theory. We're focused on building Canada. We're focused on working with Alberta to grow our natural resources in a responsible way in consultation with First Nations. That's how we build, not conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actual factual. And if he wants to remain prime minister, he needs to sell his assets. Why did I say the cookie crumb story? Because once you get a taste of the cookie crumb, you're going to want the whole thing. And now that Mark Carney paved the way saying it is possible to save the planet and also get a pipeline built, it's in our minds. And if there is no pipeline, oh yeah, it's time for Carney to get out of the way.
Mark Carney needs to do only one thing for us to get a pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific.
One of my questions was, is this pipeline going to come? So
boring.
It's not actually.
It is. No, but it is. It is.
Get out of the way.
The memorandum of understanding that we're negotiating with Alberta creates necessary conditions, but not sufficient conditions.
It's important to note what this MOU is not. It is definitely not an approval for a pipeline. It is not a referral to the Federal Major Projects Office for fast tracking.
There are trillions of dollars of international investment crying out for the chance to build that pipeline. All they need is the federal government to stop blocking it.
Exactly. And now we know it's possible. Oh boy, this could be the end of Mark Carney's political career. Here's Brian Lilly's take, and that's another thing. Money's going to start flowing into Alberta, getting the ball rolling. And when things stall out and it doesn't look like we're going to get that pipeline, that's when Canadians are going to vote Mark Carney out. But check this out.
The emissions cap is done now. We're going to start seeing investment flow into Alberta. It's been funny listening to so many of the reporters ask either Smith or Carney or others, well, the agreement says there has to be a private sector proponent of the pipeline. What if there isn't one? After this, there's going to be one. So this is a giant step in the right direction. It's where we should have been all along. Does it solve everything? No, but very good for Alberta, very good for Canada.
I have an update graphic on the poll I showed you yesterday where the Liberals and Conservatives were tied if there was an election today. Check out the age groups here. 18 to 34, 52% would vote Conservatives, 30 to 54, 60%. And when you go down to 55 plus, 57% would vote Liberals. What I don't understand is last year, 23,000 Canadians passed away on a medical wait list. That's 65 people per day. And the year before that was only 15,000. Not only, that's a lot, but 23,000. Next year, we're going to be at 35,000 based on the trend. How long before the 55 plus go, hey, my buddy's just passed away on a wait list. Maybe I should vote for change. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of skepticism online, but this is a good starting point. It means that it is possible. We see the end of the tunnel. The cookie crumbs taste so good, and I can't wait to eat the whole freaking jar. And once Canadians realize that Mark Carney really can't deliver on his pipeline, we're going to vote for change, and that's when we're going to get it done. I got an announcement to make. Tomorrow, I have a special interview. I'll be interviewing John Carpay from Justice Center. Oh man, I'm excited for this interview, and you should be too. We're going to go deep in this report. Manufacturing consent, government behavior engineered of Canadians. This is explosive. It's going to be a great interview. I can't wait to ask some questions. This is going to be an explosive interview because they paid $130+ million for a department to influence Canadian behaviors through PSYOPs. And the questions that I'm going to be asking John are going to be explosive. Today was a positive day. Tomorrow might be different, but we're going to celebrate just today. I'll see you on the next report.